Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
The New York Jets report the training camp in under 2 weeks. So in today's Jake Asman Show, we are previewing all angles of the season with former Jets defensive lineman and current CBS Sports NFL analyst, Douzable. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started. Man, our Jets are primed for a historic season. We bleed Jets green each and every day. This is not the same old Jets. We have Aaron freaking Rodgers. We have Garrett Wilson. Let's go. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. The Jets bandwagon is loaded. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show. Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. As you heard me say in the intro, hit the like button, subscribe to the show, and please hit the share button. Spread the word. We talk Jets each and every day right here on the channel. Joining us today is one of our favorite guests, one of my favorite Jets ever. Now you can watch him all over CBS Sports and CBS Sports HQ. You can hear him on Sirius XM's NFL Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Douzable joins us now. And Leger, you just got back from a trip to Europe, so I hope you've recovered. The body is back on point, and I can't thank you enough for joining us.
Of course, thanks for having me again, Jake. Yeah, I literally got back, I think 3 days ago from Europe. Little reset trip before the stretch run of the season. Always like to get away with about 2 weeks before things kick off, just to reset my mind, get ready, refocus for this 6-7 month run that we're about to have of no break. So it was good for me and the wife to get away, really reset ourselves and get locked in and focused in on the season.
From a player's perspective, because you went through it, of course, playing 10 years in the NFL, a couple of weeks to go until training camp. What's a Jet player feeling like right now?
Yeah, so this will probably be like their last week of true hard training, and then we have something called a taper week, is where you kind of fine tune your body to get ready for training camp. You've done all the hard work. Like I said, this will be probably the last week they go through the rigors of a hard off-season training week before they start to minimize putting some of that pressure on the body, because training camp it's rigorous, right? You go through a lot during training camp. It's a month and a half of straight hitting. You have breaks in there, but you talk about putting on pads probably for a majority of 80% of that time. So there's real rigors in that. So you got to taper your body at the right time. That way you're full go once you hit training camp, because you don't want to have to try to ease into training camp and get your body ready. It's going to take an acclimation no matter what, just because you haven't put on pads for the Jets since last January. So you're talking about 6-7 months of no pads on. So there's going to be that first week. You're going to be sore no matter what. No matter how hard you trained, your body is still going to be sore, right? But you just try to give yourself a little bit of an edge in regards to your conditioning, right? Your endurance. That's what you do right now in this 6-week span that they've had off. And that last week is just fine tuning your body, getting the medical right. That way you hit training camp running and you don't have to ease into it.
For you, when you look at this Jets team, Leger, the first time I've had you on since they've had an offseason where they certainly have made a lot of moves to try and improve this team. When you look at this Jets roster, how should a Jet fan be feeling about this team entering camp?
I mean, the funny thing is, right, when you look at rosters, everything looks good on paper, right? But we know this, Jake, it has to be done on the field. And I think the players have echoed that message as well this offseason, where going into last year, there was a lot of hype with the Jets. Hard knocks doesn't help that at all. And then when you trade for a Hall of Fame quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, right, you get all the attention. I think this year, there's still been a lot of press, but it hasn't been as crazy as it was last year. And I think that's a good look for the New York Jets going into this season, because the expectations are high, right? There were just 4 plays into the season. Aaron Rodgers was lost. Essentially, the season was lost last year. So I think all the expectations that Jet fans and even the players themselves had last year kind of roll over to this year. And then you talked about some of the pivotal pieces that were added. Tyron Smith, a perennial Pro bowler at left tackle. Morgan Moses is back in the fold. He's a guy that's been an Iron Man that doesn't miss any snaps, right? You talk about John Simpson at guard who will rip your face off in the run game. And then you mentioned it, Hassan Reddick, one of the best closers in the NFL. Yes, you lose Bryce Huff, but you get an ultimate closer in Hassan Reddick. So, the expectations are still extremely high. And I think everybody knows on this team, if they don't get it done this year, there will be some wholesale changes.
When you look at the expectations, I mean, a year ago, it all changed 4 plays in, but it does feel like, at least on paper, Leger, they're better equipped to handle like a conventional injury. For instance,
Correct.
If Aaron Rodgers sprained an ankle and has to miss 2 or 3 games, you feel like you could go 2-1 with Tyrod Taylor. If Tyron Smith doesn't play a full season like he typically doesn't, all right, well, Olu Fashanu could come in and play 4 to 5 games. So it just feels like the Jets are way better equipped to handle conventional injuries. That said, if everyone gets hurt again, then the whole season goes up in flames. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But how do you feel just about the depth on this team a year later from what happened last year?
Yeah, you make a really good point. And that's the thing. When you're making a run towards the playoffs, you got to have a little bit of luck. You got to have a little bit of injury luck, right? And the Jets did not have that last year. And you spoke about the depth. I think that's been the greatest thing that Joe Douglas has done. Now, a lot of people will scoff at what he's done in the past, but it's just like when your top 4 tackles, like you said, Jake, get hurt, like you can't blame that on the GM when your top 4 tackles go down in consecutive years. Like you've thrown depth at the position. Guys just haven't been healthy. But I would say on paper, I would say this team feels a little bit more comfortable because you got to think last year, Carter Warren wasn't even supposed to play. This year, at worst, he's the number 4 tackle, right? That's a good place to be at because he can continue to develop and potentially be one of the future guys. Because you got to think both of the tackle positions right now are manned by guys in their mid-30s, right? And they're both on essentially 1-year deals. So you talked about Olu Fashanu, right? Having him as a number 3 tackle, and who's to say that he maybe doesn't beat out Morgan Moses, right? And ends up being the starter because Morgan Moses' deal, the way it's structured, was kind of like it was structured the first year he got to the Jets, where he was essentially supposed to be the number 3 tackle, but because of injuries, he was thrust into the starting role. So that's a position he's familiar with, and I'm sure they've had that conversation with him as well. It just depends how fast Olu Fashanu, acclimates to the NFL game, and if he moves over to right tackle, how is that for him too? Because he's played exclusively left tackle, right? So that's a big change, especially for a rookie. But I think Carter Warren has to be a part of this equation too. Like I said, as far as the development and long range, for him to be your 4th tackle, I think you're sitting a lot prettier this year. But again, like you said, last year he was supposed to be the 4th or 5th tackle, and he got thrust into action because of injury. So when guys go down, like it's tough. You got to have some injury luck. A guy like Elijah Vera Tucker has to stay healthy this year, right? John Simpson is a guy that hasn't really missed any time, but he has to be in the fold as well. He can't get hurt, right? Tippmann has to be healthy. All that equates to building that gelling and continuity of the offensive line. I think that's what really hurt the Jets last year. If I'm not mistaken, 13 different combinations started for the Jets, and I believe that was number 1 in the NFL. You're not going to have any continuity, and your quarterback's not going to be protected, Jake, if that happens. So you have to have some injury luck, but I would say the Jets brass feels a lot more comfortable with the depth on the offensive line than they did last year.
We're talking with Leger Douzable, former New York Jet defensive lineman. You hear him on CBS Sports HQ, Sirius XM's NFL Radio. If you have a question for Leger, write it in. Super Chats, we'll cut the line, and we'll bring those up on the screen. When you look at the defensive line now on this team, Leger, this is your area of expertise. Of course, the Jets made some significant changes there. No JFM. He has been traded, of course. They let Bryce Huff walk and replace him with a guy you mentioned in Hassan Reddick. You know Robert Salah as well as anyone playing for him with the Niners. So what's the key for Salah to get this defensive line unit on the same page, ready to go by the time week 1 comes around against one of your old teams, the San Francisco 49ers?
Yeah, I would say 3 big losses. Bryce Huff, JFM gets traded, and Quentin Jefferson. I don't think a lot of people are talking enough about what he meant to that defensive line. It's interesting, Jake. It feels like everybody that comes here on a 1-year deal on D-line or 1 or 2-year deal ends up having career years and getting paid by somebody else, right? So that's literally what happens. Solomon Thomas has only been the one mainstay that's been able to be a haul over every single year, but every other D tackle that comes here has it sitting next to Quentin Williams, which, again, he's a top 2 defensive tackle in football. That tends to happen. You're going to get a lot of one-on-ones, and you're going to have a career year, and somebody's going to pay you for your services. So they bring in Javon Kinlaw, who's very familiar with the system, was in San Francisco with Robert Saleh as well. So this is a guy that, a lot of people were worried about was he a bust coming out, right? Had some injury issues. Thought he played really good football last year because there was less pressure on him. He wasn't the main guy. Like when he came in his first year, Jake, he had big shoes to fill. DeForest Buckner was a perennial Pro Bowler, right? And that's whose spot he was stepping into. So, when you're a first round pick and a guy leaves of that caliber, they're expecting you to come in and make a contribution right away. And he dealt with a lot of injuries. Thought he played really good ball last year as the third D tackle. He'll be starting next to Quinnen Williams. I think he's ready for that opportunity as well. And then we just stated it, Jake. Everybody that's played next to him have had career years and have gotten paid somewhere else. So you look at that. You look at Fotu, a guy that's going to really help in the run game as well. Really love the Hassan Reddick trade because I know a lot of people, including myself, were mad that Bryce Huff walked in free agency. I understood it. I thought that something should have been done after his third year. Maybe the Jets brass didn't see as far as what Bryce Huff was and what he could be in regards to being an every down starter. But he walks out the door and they get a guy that's an ultimate closer in Hassan Reddick. Now, that's a whole nother story because he is yet to show up yet. And I'm sure we'll talk about that as well, Jake. But this is a guy, again, when it's the money down, third down, he's not only getting to the quarterback, Jake, he's taking the ball off the quarterback, and that's what the Jets could use, right? For some reason, we're one of those teams that just cannot fall on fumbles. But with a guy like Hassan Reddick, he's going to get to the quarterback, get the ball off, and fall on the ball, right? So, I thought that was a massive – I don't want to say massive upgrade because I love Bryce Huff and everything that he brought, but I thought that was a slightly upgrade at that position, losing Bryce Huff and getting Hassan Reddick.
Completely agree with you. Now, we bring up Reddick. I mean, you're a former player. You played with guys who have had contract situations before. From a teammate perspective, what's the feeling on Reddick, I'm sure, in that locker room? And then from a Reddick perspective, how do you ultimately see this getting situated?
Ultimately, as a teammate, we always had a rule. You never count anybody's money, right? So it's not our business. This is the business of football. He's handling a contract situation. So, again, when you talk about players and how people react to them in the locker room, it's all about when you actually meet that player, interact with them, and you get them on the field. Like, you can't judge somebody that's in a contract dispute, right? Because if you were in his shoes, what would you do, right? So I always try to tell people that when it comes to how do players feel about a guy in a contract dispute, I mean, you can't count anybody else's money, right? So hopefully that situation gets worked out. I think there's going to be a situation where they tweak this year's contract. I'm not sure if he gets an extension, but I think they tweak this year's contract where he gets a little bit more money on the front end and maybe even an opportunity to earn some more money based on incentives and what he does throughout the season. And he'll show up to camp. Hopefully that gets done. Like you said, we're less than 2 weeks away. Haven't heard anything. So it'll be interesting to see whether he shows up to camp because he did miss minicamp. He's already subject to the fine already. So my thing is, as a player, is he willing to take it all the way and, be subject to all those fines at training camp? They're a lot different than the minicamp fines. They're a lot more expensive. So that'll be one thing to really watch for the Jets, right? Do they tweak his deal this year to give him a little bit more money and then an opportunity to earn even more money, incentive-based contract with an opportunity to sign in the offseason, or does Hassan Reddick not show up to camp? Hopefully it's the first and not the latter because, again, with our team, Jake, there always seems to be headlines, and you really don't want any going into this training camp, knowing how pivotal this year is.
You brought up minicamp. You brought up headlines. Aaron Rodgers not there for the 2 days was certainly a huge story nationally, for better or worse. I'm curious what your reaction is to that because Coach Salah, guys on this Jets team, they didn't seem to have a problem with it. Yeah. What were your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers, of course, not being there for those 2 days?
Again, because it's New York and it's the Jets, it was a big story. It was a lot about nothing. Just because when you look at the story in totality, this trip that Aaron Rodgers booked, he booked it before the schedule came out in regards to the offseason when the minicamp was going to be. So as players, we kind of know the flow of the offseason, especially a guy that's been in the NFL as long as Aaron Rodgers for 20 years. He kind of knows around what time minicamp is going to be and when it's going to end. And I guess he just miscalculated it by a few days and booked this trip. But the funny thing was, he was literally there for the whole offseason. He literally missed 2 days of minicamp. That was it. So in the scheme of things, it's not a big deal. People will make it a big deal just because it's New York, it's the Jets, and it's the media capital of the world. And people always like to associate the Jets with just having things discombobulated, right? Always something going on. So I don't think it's a major issue. It seemed like his teammates didn't make it a major issue. I don't think it'll have any effect on how this team plays. Again, it'd be one thing if he missed most of the offseason, but he was there essentially for the whole offseason. He just missed a couple of days of minicamp.
For me, it's one of those things where, if they don't reach their goals, people will use that as a reason.
Oh, they're going to bring it up no matter what.
So it's like, does it add, I guess, like quote unquote, more pressure? Sure. But the Jets already had pressure on them. You already said it. If they don't win, there's going to be major changes to coach, GM. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I could promise every Jet fan out there that Aaron Rodgers missing 36 total team snaps over 2 days without pads on in June will have no bearing on what the Jet record is in 2024.
At all. And I'm glad you brought up the Tyrod Taylor addition too, because again, last year Zach Wilson wasn't supposed to see the field. I don't think the Jets were ready in case that happened. They thought Aaron Rodgers was going to be there the whole season, and then you got to thrust Zach Wilson into the lineup. Now, like you said, if Aaron Rodgers tweaks an ankle or something, knock on wood, hopefully it doesn't happen. But if he has to miss 2 to 3 games, you feel real comfortable with Tyrod Taylor potentially holding down the fort until Aaron Rodgers comes back.
Robert Salah, you know him well, obviously, as we alluded to at the top. You played for him when he was a coordinator. When you look at this make or break year for him, do you think he has improved as a head coach? Do you think that he is the right guy, assuming, of course, he gets competent quarterback play, which for 3 years he hasn't, can be the guy to lead this team on a deep playoff run?
And that's the thing. If you don't have somebody under center, Jake, you have no chance. You literally, in this day in the NFL, you have no chance. Now, again, there was a few teams last year, the Browns, the Vikings, the Bengals, they proved like you can play multiple guys if you have a championship type defense and still make the playoffs. The Browns were the only team to make the playoffs. I think the Vikings and the Bengals were maybe 1 game out. But for that Jets team to win 7 games based on what they got from the quarterback position last year, and at times the offense and the offensive line, I think that was a heck of a job. Robert saw to go 7-10 with essentially not getting any help from the offense at times. It's a really hard thing to do, Jake, right? So, I think the players, you can usually tell right away, Jake, when things start going downhill, if the players start pointing fingers, right, which never happened on this team, if the players start pointing fingers at the coaches, which never happened last year, then you worry and say, well, maybe this guy isn't the guy for the job. But these guys kept fighting, right? They were able to finally get over that snide of never beating New England, and they dog-walked New England in New England for Bill Belichick's last game, which was the greatest thing ever. Right? Again, they went on a streak at the end of the season. Breece Hall became one of the best backs in the league. I think there was a poll that just came out that named him the number 2 overall back, according to executives and GMs in the NFL. I remember very own Pete Prisco did his top 100. I thought it was asinine that he didn't have.
We played that clip on the show, and I said shout out to our guy Leger for having
Breece Hall in the top 100, which was really ridiculous. I don't even think he had him in the honorable mention, which was ridiculous. So for him to hold that team together, I think speaks value to who he is and how the players actually see him. So again, this is the team that everybody thought last year was going to take off. Hopefully, again, you need some injury luck. If everybody can stay healthy, they got to gel. They got to go do it on the field. But if you look at what people have said about the Jets, and I think there was a positioning ranking thing, the Jets literally had the number 1, which is funny to me because they haven't played together, number 1 O-line in the AFC East, had the number 1 D-line, the number 1 secondary, and number 1 linebacker. And I think in the totality of the NFL, they had the number 1 D-line, secondary, and linebacking position in the NFL voted by execs. So, again, on paper, this team is set and ready to go, but they got to go do it on the field.
When you look at this team, my big thing has been remove the word Jets from the helmet and just look at the roster. This is one of the more talented Jets teams in my lifetime.
We have to say top 5 roster in the NFL.
For sure. And the Jets obviously have to win for people to give them some respect. But I think you alluded to something earlier that should help this team. Sure, there's attention on them because it's New York and it's Aaron Rodgers, but it's not like what it was last year. I think they're actually in a much better spot now to maybe, I don't want to say sneak up on some teams, but the mentality, I think, is going to be different in that room. And you could talk to it as a player. I think they're in a much better spot going into this year than last year.
Yeah, 100%. I think one thing, even though Aaron was hurt last year, him being around the fellas even though he was hurt, him participating in practice, right, trying to build up that continuity, I think that'll bode well for this year, right? Because a lot of guys, when they have that Achilles, they kind of go away. I remember when I tore my pec in 2012, I would pop in and out, but it sucked being around football, Jake. Like when you love something as much as I loved football, like when you can't play and you see your brothers out there struggling week in and week out, and you know you can help them and there's nothing you can do, like that eats at you. So shout out to Aaron Rodgers for coming back because it was important for him to be there, right? Just so the team knew that he was all in. So the players knew he was all in. And I think that boat is going to bode really well for next year because I heard he was dotting up the defense in practice those last couple weeks. So, again, they got to go do it on the field. But like you said, when you look at this roster man for man, I think it'd be hard-pressed for many people not to say it's a top 5 roster in the NFL.
Rodgers in particular coming off this injury, and you're right. I mean, CJ Mosley came on our show Super Bowl week and talked about those practices in December where he couldn't believe on the scout team what Rodgers was doing to the starting D. But just the fact that he missed a full year, do you expect him to be rusty early on? I mean, how would you approach maybe the preseason if he wants to play a drive or two like last year? Just your thoughts on Rodgers and everything that he's putting in to try and come back and be ready to go for week 1.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be rushing. Now, in-game action's a lot different from practice, obviously, Jake. But you got to think this guy was participating in practice last year. He took reps, all the reps during OTAs this offseason. So it's not like it's a scenario where he hasn't practiced the last few months, right? He's literally practiced every time the Jets have been out there to practice, going all the way back to November. So like November, early December. So he's actually had those practice reps. Now, again, game reps are a lot different in the flow of the game. So I would not be surprised if he takes maybe one series in preseason just to get it out there, right? Just to get, because there's a mental hurdle you got to get over too, Jake. Like it's one thing to practice, but in a game scenario where you got hurt, like there's the mental hurdle you have to get over. Just like Brees Hall going back to Denver and having a hell of a game. Like thank God ABT doesn't have to go to Denver this year because that place is cursed for him.
Right.
But like there's certain things, like I remember when I tore my pec, it was at Nissan Stadium in Tennessee. And I remember my first time going back there, even though I was healthy, I think it was like 2 years later, there's just a mental hurdle you got to get over because that's where you got hurt. And I think that's the same thing. You know, Aaron Rodgers got hurt at MetLife. So I think one of the home games in preseason, they should give him one series just to get over that mental hurdle.
You know, for him in particular, like last year, if they just had average quarterback play, I think they're a playoff team with what we saw from the roster.
I mean, they won 7 games with below average quarterback play.
Like historically bad quarterback play. Like it's just, it pains me like they have wasted, you know, this defense these last 2 years. But let's say Rodgers is healthy. Let's say he plays around 15 games, which I think is realistic with Tyrod being there for the other couple of games. Can he still be a top 10 quarterback in your mind? Can he be better than that? What are your expectations for where Rodgers would rank amongst his peers?
You know what's so funny? I've had this discussion with multiple people, and Aaron Rodgers last year in Green Bay, if I'm not mistaken, Jake, I think he had 26 touchdowns, maybe 12 interceptions,
Correct.
Which was like a high number for him interception-wise. And honestly, I said if the Jets got that from Aaron Rodgers, they might go to the Super Bowl. Right? like the Jets have not had that since Ryan Fitzpatrick in my year in 2015.
Yeah.
Like they haven't had that type of quarterback play. So like, I remember, I think it was on Speaks. My guy Shady was arguing with, I think the guy's name is, I don't want to mess his name up. It's Tom or Todd. He does a lot of stuff for the Cowboys. And he was like, you don't think the Jets would take that type of gameplay from Aaron Rodgers? And I'm yelling at the TV. Unequivocally, yes. The Jets would take that in the heart. Like they don't need the 21 MVP Aaron Rodgers, right? They don't need the 2020 MVP Rodgers. They need a guy that can man the ship. Now, again, every once in a while, yeah, you need him to go be Superman and be the guy. But with this defense and what we think this run game is going to be, we just need, you know, above average quarterback play. We don't need you to be the MVP, Rodgers. Now, can he essentially be that if Mike Williams comes back and is 100% healthy? Garrett Wilson's going to be Garrett Wilson. I think Tyler Conklin's going to have a heck of a year with Aaron Rodgers and the offensive line stays healthy. Yes, he could potentially be that MVP, Rodgers. But the Jets don't necessarily need him to be that, right? Like 26-12, like the Jets are winning a lot of football games if Aaron Rodgers throws 26 touchdowns and 12 interceptions.
Oh, without question. And that last year in Green Bay, I mean, he was dealing with a broken thumb on his throwing hand, a rib injury, and
didn't have a true number one.
No, his number one was Alan Lazard. He's probably the number 4 on the Jets right now. Think about that.
Yeah. So, like, again, if the Jets have that with the defense, what we think the run game is going to be, like the Jets will win a lot of games.
From your lips to God's ears on that, and every Jet fan is praying. You know, I look at this team, Leger, and look, of course, they got to, you know, make the playoffs and the longest playoff drought in North American sports, but who's counting? But I look at the division and I go, if not now, then when for this Jets team? I don't think
You're not
Buffalo
lying.
has gotten better this offseason. I don't think Miami has gotten better this offseason. And the Jets, I mean, you look at where they're at right now. If they had done nothing but, hey, Aaron's just back at quarterback, that might be the difference of going from 7-10 to 9-8 or 10-7. And I think they're better with some of the moves we've already discussed. What are your thoughts on the state of the AFC East? Can this Jets team win the division for the first time since 2002?
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said if not now, then when. Like when you look at Buffalo, they're kind of in a revamp year, right? Stephon Diggs is no longer there. Gabe Davis is no longer there. A lot of their veterans on defense have gotten older, and they've kind of let them go on as well. So it'll be real interesting. Buffalo's going to be an interesting team to win because I think they still have the best odds to win the division, and I'm surprised by that just because of the overturn of the team. It'll be interesting to see Josh Allen without a true number one now. I think with Joe Brady, they'll go a lot more 12 personnel with their two tight ends, right? And Dawson Knox and Kincaid. But it'll be interesting to see how that offense and that defense flows with so much wholesale change on that team. And then Miami, you talked about it. I don't know if they've gotten worse, but they're about the same, right? Because, they lose Xavier Howard, who dealt with some injuries, Emmanuel Ogbah. Christian Wilkins, I think it was a big loss. But they still have some pretty good players. Now, the thing with them, we look at Chubb and Phillips coming off major injuries. Like, when will they be ready to actually play? Is there a scenario where Chubb probably goes on pup in the beginning of the year, doesn't play till like week 6? Will Phillips actually be ready to start the season coming off an Achilles? Those are things you have to ask with them. And then, like I said, they did get Kendall Fuller, which I thought was a big get for them this offseason as well. And now Jalen Ramsey will actually be 100% healthy because, remember, he got banged up in camp last year, missed a good portion of the beginning of the year. So he'll be healthy, and it seems like they're going to actually let him travel with the number one guy. So it'll be interesting to see that. And the offense is going to be explosive. You know that now. Question marks on offensive line, for sure. A lot of question marks on their offensive line. But with Mike McDaniel, they're going to be an explosive offense. And then there's the contract situation with Tua and Tyreek Hill. So, like, where does that come into play? So if you look at it, I think, again, you hit the nail on the head, Jake. If it's not this year, then when is it for the Jets? Because this seems like the most vulnerable the Buffalo Bills have been. The Miami Dolphins still haven't proven they can consistently beat teams that are playoff caliber teams. So this is the year for the Jets to do it if there's any year.
You know what I love about the Jets schedule too? They play Miami twice, once in December in their
I'll say they're both late.
Yeah, and then last game of the regular season at Jet Life. I mean,
Yeah.
the first time Tua plays a game and wins under 45 degrees will be the first time that he's ever done that in his career. So, look, the Jets got to prove it, of course, but I think if you just look at the talent on the roster, to me, they're the most talented team in the division. Are they the best coach team? We'll find out. Rodgers got to be healthy, but just from a talent perspective, I think the Jets are as talented than any of the teams in their own division, maybe the most talented.
Yeah, and then if you look at, and again, each week in the NFL, you got to strap it up. But if you look at the way the schedule comes out, like it's favorable in the beginning for the Jets. Now, of course, week 1 is a gauntlet, but Aaron Rodgers has had a lot of success against San Fran in the regular season, not the playoffs, but in the regular season, he's had a lot of success against them. The only thing that sucks for the Jets is playing 3 games in 10 days to start the season, which is absurd. Like, that is utterly ridiculous. But if you look at the teams, I think there's a 3-week stretch, if I'm not mistaken, Jake, where they could essentially play 3 rookie quarterbacks, right? So, like, the schedule is favorable for the Jets. Again, you got to show up week in and week out, no matter who you're playing. But this is a scenario where the Jets could make an early run. And, once you build that confidence, Jake, you feel like you can beat and play with anybody. So it'll be important the way the Jets start the season.
Couple minutes left with Leger Douzable that he's headed off to the CBS Sports HQ studios where you can check him out later today. Rat Diddy's got a super chat for us. Leger, we need some defensive tackle help. You ready?
Nah, I may have 1 or 2 snaps left in me. That's about it. But I actually like what the Jets have done this offseason. I think Solomon Thomas finished the season really strong last year. Bringing him back it will bring some continuity. I know, Jake, you and a few people got after me because I drafted a D tackle, I think, in our mock in the 4th round. But I think at some point the Jets needed to have somebody that could build with Quinnen Williams. And I feel like it's been 3 straight years where everybody signed a 1-year deal next to Quinnen Williams.
Right.
And essentially the same thing happened again this year. So, again, it'll be a whole new brass of defensive tackles coming in next year. Now, there are some undrafted guys that the Jets brought in. We'll see if any of those guys really stick. But I thought it would have been good for them to just have somebody that can learn from Quentin Williams. He's one of the best defensive tackles, and then ultimately be a guy that could be plug and play next to him for the next 4 or 5 years. But I love what they did with Javon Kinlaw, Fotu, and also bringing back Solomon Thomas as well.
How do you feel about Will McDonald, by the way? Do you expect him to take a year 2 leap similar to what Jermaine Johnson did last season?
Well, it'll be interesting, right? Because now with Hassan Reddick being there, and Hassan Reddick never comes off the field, right? So essentially now you're talking about making Will McDonald the third in, which I think is great, right? Because he needed to get bigger this offseason. We'll see what he looks like when he comes in for training camp. And I think last year it was tough usually for rookies, you just want to specialize and give them not too much. Give them a specialized package. And I think they had that in mind, but with the way Bryce Huff played and the way that Jermaine took off, it was really hard for them to get him reps. And JFM was the one guy that could play up and down the line of scrimmage. So it was hard for him to get reps. It'll be a lot easier because he'll be like the third guy now because JFM is gone as well. So like it'll be a lot easier for Will McDonald to get reps. And I'm really excited to see that explosive ability off the edge. And you would think also, Jake, with Aaron Rodgers being there, the Jets will finally be playing with a lead, maybe. So like now you can really hone in on that skill set that Will McDonald has in regards to coming off the edge, because I like what they did in that spinner package and they moved Jermaine inside, had him in a 2-point stance, use that athletic ability. He was picking tackles and guys were wrapping around, whether it was Quentin Williams on the outside or whether they had Bryce Huff on the outside. They kind of interchanged him and Jermaine Johnson in those spinner packages where they would both stand up as like the joker inside. So that I think they'll do some of that with Jermaine and keep, Will on the outside and really have him and Hassan Reddick just pin their ears back and go.
I like the sound of that. Ricky NY's got an idea for you, Leger. He goes, when is Leger going to have his own show called Pay Your Dues? Just a great idea off the top of my head.
So the funny thing is I have with my betting segment with CBS, they introduced that segment last year. So you'll see a lot more of it this year.
I love it. You taking the Jets win total over this year. 9.5. What? I mean, come on. They won 7 last year with no quarterback. They better win at least 10 games.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe you retweeted it or not, Jake. I did a breakdown of the Jets schedule for CBS Sports.
Yes.
And I went way over the 9.5. So I don't think that was me being a homer. Again, the schedule pans out really well for the Jets in the beginning of the year. If you look at Buffalo, they've always struggled at MetLife. And that's, again, without having quarterback play. The Jets have had Josh Allen's number at MetLife. So I had them splitting there. I have them splitting with Miami, and I have them sweeping New England. So I think I had the Jets, if I'm not mistaken, winning 12 games, maybe even 13. It was one of the two. So I had them way over the 9.5.
They've won 12 games once in their history, 1998. And they've never won 13. So that would be historic if they could do that.
Yeah, again, it has to be done on the field, but confidence, if you win, you build confidence. And I think the way the schedule starts for the Jets, if they're able, because there is a gauntlet towards the end of the season, but if they're able to get it going in the beginning of the year, they build that confidence. They really can go out there and feel like they can beat anybody if they start rattling off some wins.
Jesus Jerry checks in with a super chat. Leger looking sharp and always on point. A successful Jets Super Bowl run. What are the 3 things they must do and the 3 things they need to avoid?
1, stay healthy. 100%. That's like number 1 on the board, right? I think they have to have an effective run game, which they haven't had the last 2 years. I think when you look at what they've done in the draft, right, with the type of running backs they drafted, I think you're going to see a philosophy change that goes away a little bit from that zone scheme to more of the G scheme, right? Because you bring in John Simpson, who's one of the best pulling guards in football last year. Morgan Moses is one of the best run blocking tackles as well. Tyron Smith to get after you in the run game. Would not be surprised, Jake, we see more double teams, guard pull, and then even off of that, some play action with Aaron Rodgers with some slants behind it for Garrett Wilson. So I think they have to have the effective run game. And then they have to minimize the turnovers. I mean, that's what killed the Jets. Now, again, with Aaron Rodgers, you think that would happen just because his career shows that he routinely doesn't turn the football over. So I think that has to happen as well, right? So because I think the defense, I would say something about the defense, but I think the defense is going to be the defense. Like, they've proven who they are the last 2 years. And unless something just weird happens, I don't see that changing. I think the defense is going to be the defense. So literally, they got to stay healthy on both sides of the ball, right? First and foremost, for you to have any success, right? They gotta get that run game going, because that'll make things so much easier for Garrett Wilson and even Mike Williams when he comes back. And then you got to minimize the turnovers. That's what's literally plagued the Jets the last 2 or 3 years. Like turning the football over has killed them. I would add one. They got to take the ball away. We got to do a better job of taking it away. So like I'll take away that last one of us turning it over, which is obvious. We got to take the ball away. We got to do a better job now. First, Sauce Gardner, CJ Mosley really talk about that. We talked about it earlier in the show with Hassan Reddick, right? Coming off the edge. I think you'll get a few turnovers for him. He's in a contract year. He's one of the best guys at closing games. And not only that, Jake, taking the ball off the quarterback.
Well said. Project Prospect with Dom C, one of the best draft guys out there, Leger. He says, Leger, to get deeper into the defensive line, what are the expectations of Michael Clemens? Do you think he fills that run-stuffing DE that we lost in JFM? Also, does Tanzel Smart have a chance to make the 53?
I'm a big Tanzel. I'll start with him first. I'm a big Tanzel Smart guy. I thought he should have made the roster last year. It's going to be an uphill battle for him again just because of who they've brought in. Like Solomon Thomas is going to make the team. Kinlaw is going to make the team. Fotu, I think most likely, is going to make the team. So he's in an uphill battle because it's rare that you keep 5 defensive tackles. And you talked about Michael Clemens, which is a perfect pairing of the question. There was times where he slid inside last year. So I think he will take some of the JFM reps, and I think he will be that run-stuffing defensive end that potentially can move inside on third downs as well. It'll be interesting to see his growth. I've seen him work this offseason with Coach Jordan. Is it Jordan? BT Jordan, I think is his name. He looks really good from the clips that I've seen. So this is a big year for Michael Clemens, right? Because with no JFM or Bryce Huff leaving, those are more reps that him and Will McDonald will get. So now it's about seizing the opportunity. Like you're already going to be in the 2 deep, right? Can you take your game to the next level to be that guy that's really versatile like JFM that can play up and down the line of scrimmage?
Never too early to talk about week 1. So our final questions from Gerald, who wants to know, is stopping CMC the number 1 priority for the Jets defense in week 1?
Is the sky blue? Like this guy is one of the number 1, if not the number 1 offensive weapon in football. I mean, 2,000 all-purpose yards. It's going to begin and stop with CMC and minimizing him. And if you look at the Jets defense, if there has been one thing they've kind of faltered in, is at times stopping the run, right? So like they have to have their big boy pads. The thing is with Kyle Shanahan, the good thing is Robert Saleh knows the system very well. He was with him for 4 years. He's going to give you so much eye candy, right? And there's things that you're going to have to look at. He's going to have Debo, Samuel go into motion. And if your eyes are for a split second in the wrong position, CMC is going to, he's going to hit a crease and he's going to be gone for 45 yards. And when he gets in the open field, it's hard. Good luck catching him because he can really turn it over. So, yeah, without a doubt, stopping CMC, number 1. And we always say this in the defensive line group more specifically. Stopping the run is number 1 no matter what. You have to minimize what a team can do. You can't give them the whole gamut. If they can throw the ball and run the ball, good luck trying to stop them. But if you can really minimize the run game and make them one-dimensional, it's a lot easier to stop folks. So, like, the thing is they use CMC in so many different manners, whether he's stretched out and they throw him the ball on slants, they give him the ball on screens, whether it's a traditional way and handing him the ball. But he will definitely be the focal point. If the Jets are to win week 1, it would be slowing CMC down.
I've heard Robert Saleh say this to the media. I'm sure he probably said it to you guys in those defensive line meeting rooms. You have to earn the right to pass rush. It kind of feels like
I love that saying. I try to tell dudes all the time, like, you can't get a sack on a run play. Like, you can't get a sack on a run play. Like, you literally have to earn the right to rush the passer. And as a defensive lineman, you got to take pride in that. Like, playing the run, knocking your guy back, stopping and minimizing and mitigating the run earns you the right to really pin your ears back on third down and go get the quarterback. So I think there's a beauty in that, right? That has been lost because all guys care about these days is getting sacks. But we've kind of seen the teams that were able to actually be physical and run the ball make runs last year, whether it was the Detroit Lions, whether it was the San Francisco 49ers. We saw the Green Bay Packers beat up on the Dallas Cowboys in the run game in the playoffs, right? We even saw a philosophy change with the Kansas City Chiefs where Patrick Mahomes kind of essentially became a distributor and not Superman, and they ran the ball, right? So it's just like you still have to run and tackle. Like you have to stop the run game before you can get to the quarterback. So, yeah, I love that saying, like, you have to earn the right to pass rush.
Leger, always a pleasure to have you on this show. Thank you so much for your time. Good luck with the TV hits later today. I'm sure we'll check in again this summer as training camp gets underway.
For sure. Thanks for having me again, Jake.
Ladies and gentlemen, Leger Douzable, check him out. One of my favorite Jets of all time. Great analyst now. He's got a bunch of different gigs, CBS HQ, Sirius XM, NFL Radio. He does games as well for ESPN. Appreciate his time with us here on the show. We'll open it up to your comments and questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Today's Jake Asman show is presented by Cuts Clothing, baby. I'm rocking a Cuts polo right now. You can see they got the Cuts joggers. They got the Cuts t-shirts. That's what they're known for, but I can't stress enough how much I love the Cuts polo. They're comfortable. They feel nice. They don't wrinkle. If you're someone who doesn't like using the ironer and all that, that's what I love about Cuts. I got a promo code for you guys as well. It's my last name. It's Asman at cutsclothing.com, and you'll get 20% off. Summer's here. If you want nice t-shirts to wear out and about, high quality, wrinkle-free, buttery soft t-shirts or polo shirts, once again, that's Cuts Clothing. That's CUTS clothing.com, and use promo code Asman for 20% off. There's a reason why Cuts Clothing is the trusted fashion brand of professional athletes like Michael Chandler from the UFC. Best part, once again, built to last clothing, durable. It feels nice. You'll look nice. 20% off when you use my promo code Asman at checkout. That's cutsclothing.com, promo code Asman. So check that out if you want to get some t-shirts, joggers, polo shirts, you name it. Cuts Clothing. Check them out. Shout out to Cuts for being a part of today's show. All right, let's open it up. Gusbuster Hotline is open. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Sean writes in, great interview. Thank you, Sean. Make sure if you tuned in late, you go back and watch the whole thing. Let's see. A lot of talk about CMC. VR writes in, CMC can catch out of the backfield. He can. I mean, but he could do everything. Honestly, CMC is what you think Breece Hall could maybe be this year if he stays healthy. You know, Leger referenced that poll of the top running backs in football that was voted on by coaches, executives, and GMs. Number one was CMC. Number two was Breece Hall. That's how good Breece Hall could be. Keep him healthy, and this offense should flow through Breece. And I'll repeat something I've said a lot. The Jets should not have one box this year that's stacked, because if they do, Rodgers audibles out of it. Like Breece, they should not, let me rephrase. They should not run a play this year into a stacked box because Rodgers won't allow for it. Dave writes in, Jets need an Al Woods type run stuff. When he was lost last year, the run D suffered badly. They do. I think it was also a victim, the defense was, of its circumstances. They were trailing in games. Teams were not going to throw the ball on Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed and Michael Carter. So let's just run, keep running, and drain the clock. I think that's part of all this. So hopefully it's a little different this year. All right, comments, questions, super chats, will cut the line. Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline, it's open, baby. If you go to gusbuster.com, you could purchase the best umbrella in the universe. And you could use the promo code Jake, so you'll get 15% off on any of your umbrellas. Nothing like it, folks. Maybe we'll start raining channel memberships, and I'll have to open up my Gusbuster umbrella. We haven't added any to the show. We added a bunch yesterday, so shout out to everyone who is an Asmaniac channel member. We have the emoji ready to roll. It's just a matter of when will we hit the needed memberships. We need another 145, I think, to get us there. So keep that in mind. Hit the join button and become an Asmaniac officially if you haven't already. Jersey Jet writes in, Allen has good hands too. He does. And we'll see if what we heard in OTAs and minicamp is a preview of what we hear now in training camp with him flashing with the hands. How about VR coming through for the people? A membership has been gifted.
Oh, nice.
Jaden D'Angelo, you are now an official Asmaniac. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Rich writes in, I dare them to stack. I dare them to stack the damn box, says Rich. I'll tell you what. You hope they try and stack the damn box because Rodgers will cook them. He will cook them if they try and do that. That's what he does. He'll audible out of it. He'll get it to Breece in a quick pass. He'll get it to Garrett. He'll get it to Corley. That's the bottom line. Dakota says, we already know Breece is going to feast this season. Oh, he's going to feast. And so is Bruce, who saw the lane train call in yesterday. He's back.
Bruce Hall.
Let's go, baby. Johnny Boy says, dope interview. Thanks, Johnny. How's being a father of 3 now? VR says, let's start it off. Pay it forward. Amen, VR. Appreciate you, my friend. Thanks for your incredible support. This used to give me nightmares watching this. This now brings me excitement because the Jets will not see this at all this year. First play of the game against the Cowboys. The height of disrespect. You will not see this year. Jets will make them pay if they pull this. Pay. Wasn't just the Cowboy game. Here's the New England game. Where's Brees supposed to go? Count the guys in the box. Where's he going? Where should he go? Where should he go? Where should he go? Charger game. Where should he go? Just the fact he got anything on that play is impressive. Where should he go? Look at this. Tim Boyle. Ugh. Comical. David writes in, finally some competent QB play, but his football IQ isn't very high. Amazing. David, great icon, by the way. Way to make that your logo. Love that. Yeah, it's amazing how everyone thinks the Jets are going to be good with a quarterback who's so dumb.
Forget about his vaccine and political opinions. Aaron's football IQ isn't very high. Aaron's football IQ isn't very high. Aaron's football IQ isn't very high.
It's amazing how they're going to be good with such a cancer at quarterback, too.
This guy is a cancer that's metastasized throughout the entire building in Florham Park. And I don't know why Jets fans can't see it.
Because we're not idiots, Chris Canty. So we don't fall for your bullshit. Pardon my French. But that's what that is. Let's call it how it is. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. There's 157 people watching, only 83 likes. Let's get those numbers up. We'll open it up to your calls on the Gusbuster Umbrella hotline. And joining us right now is someone who is a father of 3. Ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Boy. Hello, Johnny.
What up, brother? How you holding up, man?
I don't care about how I'm holding up. Nobody cares about that. We want to hear how you're holding up. How's being a father of 3 now? How's the newborn?
Newborn's good. She's doing well. She's drinking up 6 ounces already, which is a lot.
Wow.
She turned a week yesterday, which is awesome. Waking up every 3 to 4 hours. That's the worst sleep, bro. That's that broken sleep. Wifey's getting better. She's just, taking time with the whole, postpartum stuff and et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know what sleep is anymore, man. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what's going on. All I know is that the interview you just had was amazing. And he literally said everything you've been saying since day one, that we just need competent quarterback play and this team is going to go far. And I don't understand why the other news outlets don't see this and say this instead of giving a narrative that Aaron Rodgers is a bum and we don't know what he's going to do and he sucks and all this crazy talk that I keep seeing, man. So I appreciate you bringing him on is what I'm trying to say, to hear that from somebody that's around the news outlet like that as well.
I appreciate it, Johnny. I mean, look, at the end of the day, the Jets have to go out there and prove it. But if you just do an ounce of homework, you see what we see. And that's the bottom line.
Yeah, Jake, I did want to ask you something really quickly. I don't know if you've been seeing that show that's on TV right now, The Receivers.
I haven't watched it yet. I saw Netflix released the first episode, right?
They're all out.
They're all out. Okay.
Bro, Devontae Adams just continues to keep talking about Aaron Rodgers on that show. And he talks about that one scene where I think it was the back room of Barry, where you were trying to go with that story you had put out a while back.
Yeah.
Trying to meet him.
Wait, they have him at Barry's on the show?
Yeah, he talks about it at Barry's and all that, which is pretty cool.
Oh my God. Damn. That could have been on that show. Me and Mr. Bonesy.
And then the other thing, bro, he says he said something to this sense of like, I can't wait to see you next year. So, maybe it's me like reading too much into it, but I don't know, bro. I feel like dude wants to get back with Aaron, bro. So bad, dude.
Maybe he meant like see him on the field playing again. It could be that too.
Could be, yeah, you're right. Or it's just me being a fan and being like, get him with as our number 2 or 3, which would be nuts. But I don't know. Anyways, I appreciate you, bro. That's the non-sleeping talking right now. Devontae Adams as a number 3. What am I talking about? It's a dumb take. Appreciate you, Jake, man. JETS, baby. Just. Let's go.
Johnny, appreciate you. Look, we did the Devontae thing yesterday. I think it's so hard to project until we see what happens with the Raiders this year, what type of team they are. Till we know that, it's tough. What are the expectations for the Raiders this year, right? They're 3-6 at the deadline when we went through their schedule. Would they trade Devontae? And then do the Jets need him? Do they need another receiver? Hard to project on July 11th. But it could happen. Today's Jake Asman Show presented by my friends at Huga House. I'm rocking the Huga House hat right now. You can too. Promo code Asman will get you this hat and any of their hats 15% off. But how about this? You get 2 hats. When you use the promo code, you'll get 1 hat 15% off. The second hat's 30% off. Take advantage of the deal of all deals, baby. Get the hat that Aaron Rodgers is always rocking. HugaHouse.com, promo code Asman. Check it out. They just released 10 new hats. So they have the classics, like the ones I've been wearing, and some of the new ones as well. Check it out. HUEGAHouse.com. Code Asman at checkout. Buy 1 hat. Get it 30% off if you buy a second hat after the initial 15% discount. Check it out. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. You guys know the drill. We've gained 1 member so far. How about 2 memberships so far? Shout out to VR for coming through for the people.
Oh, nice.
And how about this? Johnny Boy just got VR's membership. The 2 guys who do a show together every Friday night, hooking one another up with channel memberships. That, my friends, is what it's all about. Boomtown writes, and I know I'm certainly worried about having a low IQ quarterback play for us this year as opposed to what we had last year. Could you imagine the Jet quarterback situation? If Aaron Rodgers is dumb, what does that make Zach Wilson? Man, it's funny. If I pull up Boomtown's comment, we can't even see where Zach Wilson ranks on this chart anymore. I'm just going to sit back, all right? And I'm just not going to say anything. They say a picture tells 1,000 words. I'm just going to be silent. You guys let me know when the show should continue. If not, I'll just sit here and allow Hawk to look at this thing. I got nothing to add. You know what? You guys don't even want to see my ugly face. Here you go. What a chart, folks. What a chart. Bolas, didn't you defend Zach Wilson a year ago? No. It's funny. I was called a Zach Wilson truther because I wanted to be patient with Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson lost me after the second Patriot game. That was it. That was the game where I said this good quarterbacks don't have these type of games. Ever. It should never look that bad. That's where Zach lost me. And if I knew Mike White was that much better than Zach Wilson, I would have been arguing for Mike White to play way sooner than he ended up playing that year. Because you can't even compare the two. No one's sitting here saying Mike White is great, but he's Tom Brady compared to Zach Wilson. That's how bad it was. Zach Wilson lost me after the second Patriot game in 2022. The performance and then the press conference right after. And then where it was over for Zach Wilson, for I think everyone in the fan base, was the Jaguars game where he got benched for Strebler. The Jets were still alive. Zach had to play that game because Mike White got the fractured ribs against the Bills 2 weeks prior. That was the game where it was over. Done. That was it. Which led to my Jacksonville Jaguars rant that day. Which everything I said then, notice how it's aged.
Well, we start with the quarterback. All right, I'm going to get into it. We'll take your calls. I'm sure the Zach truthers will try and make excuses for Zach Wilson. Enough. He sucked. He was god-awful. And tonight was Zach Wilson's last start as the Jet quarterback ever. Barring injury, he's done. I'm sorry. I hate saying it. It's not personal. He seems like a nice kid. He's not the answer. He's not. Sorry. I don't want to hear any other takeaway from this game. You want to blame the offensive line? Sure, blame them. They were not good tonight. You want to blame the defense? That's the laziest take, and we're not allowing it. The defense allowed 19 points. That's a bad effort. They're on the field the entire game because this quarterback stinks. And I like Zach Wilson. I've defended Zach Wilson. I've tried to be patient with Zach Wilson, but it's enough. Zach Wilson truthers, he stinks. The guy is terrible. He stinks. All right? Stop defending him. He's got the lowest passer rating in the NFL this season, the lowest completion percentage in the NFL this season. He had the lowest passer rating in the NFL last season. He had the lowest completion percentage in the NFL last season. He hasn't gotten better. I was patient with Zach because he does have talent, because he does have potential, but it's not working. It is not working. He is not the guy. This team is too good to be 7-8. All right, this defense had a, quote, bad game. They gave up 19 points. 19. How dare the defense do anything? Come on, man. The quarterback stinks. He's not the guy. He has not improved. He has not gotten better. He is the same quarterback we saw last year. I defended him last year because we saw flashes. You see that from rookies. Then they get better. You know who got better? Trevor Lawrence got better. All right, watching some of the throws he made tonight. You know who got better? Justin Fields got better. Zach Wilson hasn't gotten better, period. You need your quarterback to make plays. They had 3 points against a Jaguars defense that allows over 23 a game. They're a bottom third defense. You're at home. Your season's on the line. And you scored 3 freaking points. Enough. I'm not dealing with the Zach Wilson truthers. If you're a Zach Wilson truther, you're out. You're not on the show. You're gone. We're not doing it. If your takeaway from this game is not that the quarterback is holding this team back, I don't know what to tell you. I can't help you. Seek help. I know I need help because I sat in MetLife and I'm going to have pneumonia from this garbage. Enough. I'm tired of it, man. This team is too good to be 7-8. They were 6-3. I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of it. They have everything in place besides a franchise quarterback. And I don't know if Mike White's the guy, but I know he gives the team a better chance to win the last 2. And then I'll bring him back, and I'll bring in Jimmy Garoppolo, or I'll beg for Aaron Rodgers to come here, or I'll beg Derek Carr to come here. I don't know, but I do know the answer is not you run it back with Zach Wilson because, Jake, he needs more time. Enough. He's not playing well. He's playing awful right now. And the second any quarterback comes in, the offense magically looks better. Explain that. Oh, but it's Mike LaFleur's fault. Stop. You're embarrassing yourself. Enough.
Pain. Never again. Thank God he's gone. Thank God. Open phone lines for anyone who wants in on the conversation. VR, he writes in, got a meeting in 4 minutes, but LFG, pay it forward. Love you, Jake. VR, we love you. Shout out to everyone out there tuned in to today's program. Zach, legendary rant. Eric, this rant is so cathartic. I've had so many rants attributed to Zach Wilson, man. Can't do it. Can't do it. You heard Leger say it. You're cooked if you don't have a quarterback. He said it. Those aren't my words. Terrible. Terrible. Ladies and gentlemen, what is not terrible is when this guy calls in. Keith Best joins us. Hello, Keith.
Thanks, Jake. Do you really think we need Adams? I'm asking you a question.
Not I mean, need him? No. Would I take him right now? Obviously.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, but I saw the interview. He doesn't want to leave Las Vegas. No, or am I wrong?
I mean, he said he didn't say he didn't want to leave. He said he is a Raider right now.
Yeah. But we have the potential to be a Super Bowl winner, and I think everybody who's open to moving to another team is looking at that. I mean, we have, if everybody on the first day of practice with their pets put a Superman shirt on, we are Superman. That's what my thought is. I don't know. But let me tell you how life works sometimes. So Robbie was on Tuesday, and I was on the chat. I was on the chat, and I had to sign off because they called me back upstairs for the chemo. Today I got my jersey on, number 1.
Love it.
It's got my name on it and everything. Courtesy of you. Thank you very much. And I'm visiting 6 kids with cancer in a little while. The oldest one is 17. Of course, you can't use their names and all that stuff. But anyway, I walk in and try to give them some inspiration. So on the way of inspiration, so on Tuesday, I was sitting in reception. I'm not allowed to use your cell phone when you're in reception, so I can't sign on there. I have to go down to the lounge. But there's a lady, a wealthy lady who's going through the same thing I am. And she saw me and she said, "You know why I come here every day? I hate this place, but I come because I see you. You're an inspiration. You're here every day, except for the weekends." But anyway, so she says, "I got a present for you in my car." And I was like, oh my God, she's got a gift for me. And she came back upstairs and she handed me 6 1-pound filet mignons, prepackaged from Germany. And she said, "These are for you." And I've already cooked 3 of them. But
wow, there you go.
$500 worth of steak. I didn't believe it. And then my surgeon says to me, Chris is one of my surgeons. So yesterday he came to my house and he says, "I have a gift for you." He's a watch collector. I mean, like expensive watches. So he gifted me this nice Citizen diver's watch. He said, "This is for you as a gift." And, life's coming back together. And, I'm on this new drug called Passev. And I have to take it till the end of September. But, and I'm not talking about the Jets right now. I'm talking about life 101. I just keep moving. I keep what I'm doing. I get plenty of sleep. And I'm just waiting for practice to start with the pads on. I think we're going to dominate the AFC East. I'm hoping. I hate listening to the trash talk out of Miami radio stations. And, there's a passive emotion here. And Robbie said it good 2 weeks ago. This is a community. You have formed a community of, anywhere from a bathead to a billionaire. And we all join and we all come, and then once I listen to Bobby and tell him to clean his room, I don't know. It's just something that inspires me. Because if I don't do this, I'm doomed. I really appreciate your show. You're like, you're the best at doing this. I said this last week. So anyway, I'm going to a meditation group meeting. That's where I'm at right now, waiting for the group to start. And that sounds pretty corny, but it helps. I'm trying to stay alive where I watched so many of my friends die this year. And I thought they were going to make it, and they didn't. And that's why life's so short. That's why I sign on here and listen to all the pizzazz. I love listening to all this. King Lowe's Keith.
Yeah, we love you, my friend. Your calls uplift a lot of people, Keith. So appreciate you always joining us, man. It's awesome.
Thanks, Jake. Appreciate it.
Keith, have a great day, my man. Our guy Keith Best. Love it. Great guy, man. And that jersey you have on, Keith, it's not just for me. It was from the Asmaniacs. They all contributed to make it happen. NYJTV. Jake, I would like to pay for your Chipotle should the Jets defeat San Fran week 1. All right, that's going to cost you like $17.20. Prices keep going up in New York City, NYJ. Keith says, Jake, you were channeling your inner Omar from Brooklyn. See, I love Omar from Brooklyn, but you don't understand him when he gets that mad when he rants. At least my rants, you still can understand the words coming out of my mouth. Omar, you have no idea what he's saying. You get so enraged. You can't understand him. Plumpy Boy, super check, cuts the line. Zach Wilson was bad enough to make Chris Strebler look like Clark Kent. I was at the game, as you know. That was one of the worst passes ever to CJ Uzomah, but because it was completed and because the Jets got a first down, the crowd gave him a standing ovation. That's how bad Zach Wilson was that night. Terrible. Terrible. Stack says, hit the like button. It's free. Stack, you're right. There's 155 people tuned in, only 108 likes. The math is not mathing, folks. Keith, by the way, had a prediction. He wants to be bold. Jets 35, San Fran 10. Go Jets. Oh, my God. Inject that into my veins. Sign me up for that. Ladies and gentlemen, B-Mac up next. Hello, B-Mac.
Hey, Jake.
Hello, B-Mac.
Hey, I gotta go back and watch your rant. I missed a part of the show, so I didn't know you make a rant because I do.
I didn't rant. I didn't rant. It was a replay of an old rant.
Oh, okay, all right. Oh, was it the Zach Wilson one?
Yeah, someone. It was requested to be played because we were talking about bad quarterback play.
Oh yeah, he stinks. He is terrible. He's horrible.
That was the rant. There you go. You know.
Yeah. But I just want to say that and this is for like a Jets fan related point. Like, do y'all feel like y'all are like y'all are in prison, like y'all been in prison like for a long time?
Yes.
Because like it's like you like waiting for something good to happen. Like last year you traded for Rodgers, right? The biggest trade in sports history, right? And then
the BMAC Wi-Fi strikes again. Yeah, look, we were robbed of getting out of prison last year, BMAC. The whole season was a giant tease. It was a giant what if, because if they had decent, competent quarterback play, they're a playoff team. We had all this hype and excitement, more hype and excitement for a season in 14 years since 2010, and it was just ripped away, man. Painful. No other way to put it. Absolutely painful. I think how long the Jet fan has waited to watch Aaron Rodgers actually play for the team. All the hype of potentially getting him. You actually get him when he says he wants to be a Jet, but then the trade wasn't finalized all last summer just for it to end 4 plays in. The tease of him maybe coming back at the end of the season if they somehow were in it. Brutal. Nate says $17 from Chipotle means Jake gets double meat and guac. No, I don't get double meat. That's just what it is now. It's crazy. I get half chicken, half steak, and I do get guac, and it's now up to $17. It's outrageous. I don't get double meat. It's like $2.50 more expensive in New York than it is in Houston. Let's see. Here's how much it actually is for my local Chipotle. $17.47. Crazy. Jimbo says, guac is what killing it, Jake. Avocados made expensive. Yeah, I guess. The problem is the Chipotle portion, they're not what they should be. You got to hold your server accountable and get more. Never order Uber Eats or Grubhub or any of that for Chipotle. Got to do it in store. More of your calls right now. Jay Quest is on the line. Hello, Jay Quest.
Hey, what's up, Jake? Let me just pull over 1 second. Hold on.
Take your time.
What's going on?
Good. Living the dream. You know, a little this, a little that.
I gotta say, like last year, right? Not to rehash, but it was probably the most painful season of our lives. You know, like it was deja vu. Like after that first game, yeah, you were excited we won, but you knew what was going to happen. Zach Wilson was going to happen. So I'm just like so excited for this year to like just like, 13-4, 12-5. And like I don't want anyone to jump on our bandwagon. I don't need Colin Cowherd to be like, oh, the Jets are great. I love them. No, F you, Colin. Okay. I don't want any bandwagoners, man. I want true Jet fans to just be freaking happy for once. That's all I want. Just like that guy in that video yesterday. I don't know if you mentioned it with Aaron Rodgers. All I want is a Super Bowl, whatever he said. Like, I want that feeling, man. I think we all want it,
Look, there's no shortage of haters out there, which is what's going to make it so sweet when this team is good this year,
Yeah, I just can't wait till the season starts, bro. When's training camp actually start?
July 23rd report date, July 24th first practice.
That's going to be awesome, dude. I can't wait, dude.
Let's go.
I'm off to Aruba on Saturday. I'll probably miss a lot of shows, but I'll see you guys next week.
Wow, give us a call from Aruba.
I'll try if my wife lets me. I try to call not around there after she gets.
You got it.
Later.
You got it. See you later. Ladies and gentlemen, the guy who called in with that bizarre costume take is Video Game Gooner. And Video Game Gooner, I saw your real name. I gave you a chance to come on the show. You pulled off a terrible phone call, the likes of which I think is as bad as any I've had. So we will now ban you for life. We will see you later. Don't call in and make those kind of jokes on this show. See ya. Enjoy the hole. Not for 24 hours, but for life, you clown.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the Sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give them another 24 hours to think about it.
Give them another, you're gone, clown face. See ya! Loser. Nice try. Anyway, couple minutes left here. Apparently, this guy went on Bobby's show and was trolling too, so we'll see you later. Go make another name, loser. You'll come back, and guess what? I'll know it's your name, and guess what I'll do? Ban you again, and then again, and again. I'll do this for the rest of my life if I have to. You will never appear on the show again. You weren't even funny. At least be funny. Enjoy the Sodomites, Gumby. What a joke. All right. Rat Diddy wants to know, J-Quest, you getting paid to wear a Taco Bell shirt? He might be. I don't know. I'd love to get that type of sponsor. I to be honest, I haven't had Taco Bell since I moved back to New York. It's been a while. I used to go in Houston way too much. Let's see. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. More of your calls right now. Joining us right now is none other than the great Bobby Midnight.
Well, I'm getting really freaking pissed. I thought I saw Gary's pretty wife. I need to get some sleep. I'm baby.
That's
intro number 10.
That's the new one. See in the back? Is it clean now?
Bobby, you're not wearing a shirt?
I am. I just got hot in here.
Are you shirtless right now on the show?
Okay. I'm right here, so you can't really see it. Okay, see?
No shirt, no service on this show. Come on.
Look how clean everything.
Unless you were a hot chick, then maybe I would allow it. But
does it look better? Clean.
I'm just distracted by the fact you're not wearing a shirt.
Okay, just look in the back.
I can't look in the back. You're not wearing a shirt.
Key Best, it says I didn't clean, so I'm cleaning.
But why can't you put on a shirt?
Okay, hold on 1 minute.
Okay. At least he didn't turn his camera off. Bobby's bringing sexy back, folks. I think fame's getting into Bobby's head. He now thinks he could. I wear a shirt. Bobby, this is for you, all right?
Calm your freaky down.
Come on now. What's going on here?
Oh, is that Gary's wife? Hi, Gary's wife. Oh, there she is. Very good looking.
Ooh. Thanks for the time, Bobby. King Lowski says, Bobby, what the hell was you doing last night? A question we all need to know the answer to. Eric says, I need you to play the Bobby Loving Gary video. It's my favorite Bobby intro so far. Gator did work on intro number 10 for Bobby Midnight. We now have it. It all started with intro number 1, and now we have 10 of these.
Well, you know I love the Yankees and the Jets, and to read the super chats are more than just a hat. Bobby.
That's where it all started, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, a shirt has been put on by Bobby. From intro number 1 back to intro number 10.
Well, you know I'm getting really freaking pissed. I thought I saw Gary's pretty wife. I need to get some sleep. I'm Bobby.
Okay, see in the background, everybody, I cleaned up my apartment now. See how it looks better?
Is this the first time you cleaned since spring of 94?
No, shut up.
I was asking. That was a question.
How does everything look better now?
I never had an issue with your apartment.
Well, did anybody tell me? I'm showing everybody my background. See?
But people want to talk about you being shirtless. Keith wrote in, Bobby, your porn
Okay,
star
I
days are
didn't
far.
put on the shirt. Okay, I made a mistake. I've been cleaning up. Keith, I heard Keith. Oh, I tell Bobby clean up his room all the time, so I am.
J-Quest says, Bobby's like George Costanza. He takes his shirt off in the bathroom. Addison writes in, Bobby is channeling his inner Super Bowl Janet Jackson. Tom wrote in, Bobby is taking I'm too sexy for my shirt too literal.
Tom, shut up. What'd you ever call in?
Nate writes in, Bobby just snapped his ladies his shirtless morning pic.
Get me off full screen now.
Addison says, summer is officially here.
Okay, but please get me off full screen. See how nice it looks? Even my chair is clean, too. I'll show you.
Are you going to sit in the orange chair for us? That would really complete this call.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
J-Quest says, I'm dying. I almost crashed.
Well, stop freaking driving and texting.
Keith writes in, Bobby's wearing a sleeveless crop top.
I'm wearing a regular polo shirt. That's Keith Best.
Alan writes in, WTF is wrong with Bobby. He's the new Spicoli.
Was that Keith Best who called in?
Keith called in earlier.
Who typed? Keith typed, right? Just typed?
Keith typed, and he said that your porn star days are over.
Cleaned my room, Keith, okay? How many times do you have to ask me to clean my damn room up?
But now he's talking about your porn star career.
I'm not a porn star. Okay, here I am, going in my red chair.
Ricky wants to know, did you eat a ham sandwich while you were cleaning?
No, I don't like ham.
Harvey says it looks good.
Hold on.
J-Quest says, Summer of Bobby. Oh, they're historic. You're getting in the chair. Let's go.
Hi,
there it is.
everybody.
Yeah.
I'm in the chair. See?
When was the last time that thing has been sat in?
What?
When was the last time you have ever sat in that chair?
I don't know. I don't time myself sitting in chairs. No.
I heard it was spring of 02.
No. Stop. Why then? I haven't had this chair for a long time. All right. I sat in the armchair.
Rob says, I threw up my morning coffee laughing and crying.
Okay, I'm done. Hey, put me off full screen, please. Thank you.
I can't find the button to take you off. Hold on, let me try to find
Get me off full screen now.
I'm trying. You're putting a lot of pressure on me. I can't find the button. Hold on.
Did what everybody wanted. I sat in the orange chair. Okay, gotcha.
Hold on. I'm trying to find the button to take you off.
Let's go. You don't even
I can't. I can't find the button. I can't find the button. Give me a minute.
Oh shit.
Derek wants to know: did you just sit on your bologna sandwich?
No, I don't have a bologna sandwich on my thing. Derek, whoever you are, I don't care who you are.
Plumpy says Bobby's definitely a corned beef guy.
Yeah, I am. One of the two. Okay, can you take me off, please?
I'm trying to find the button. 1 second.
Come on, please.
I can't find it. Where is it?
I don't know. It's in your freaking sign. Come on.
Hold on. Give me a sec. You're putting a lot of pressure on me.
Oh, Jesus.
Infrared says get in the chair shirtless. No, come on.
I already got in the chair. I sat in the chair for everybody. No more sitting in the chair right now.
Yeah, but what about shirtless? Don't do that.
Okay, see, I'm back. Okay, now are you proud of me sitting in the orange chair? It's done, and it's over.
Nate with a super chat. Take that, Gator. Orange chair is functional.
Yes.
That's big.
Yes.
That was a big moment, you sitting in the chair.
Yeah, I told you I cleaned up my apartment already.
Mm-hmm.
Are you proud of me?
Is that why you were calling so late into the show today?
Yes, because you had that special guest on. We couldn't call in, so I said, I'm not waiting around for him. I will clean up my room.
Rat Diddy says, Bobby, are you hosting a lady friend with a clean room?
No. Yeah, that's forget about that.
What do you mean?
Calm your freaky down.
It's a word. But I didn't do anything.
Well, that wasn't for you. That was for Rat Diddy.
Yeah, that's for Rat Diddy, not me. So I slept good last night. Slept at like 9:30 today.
Very nice.
What did Frank say? Hey, what did I didn't read that part. What did he say?
Roger wrote in. I think Bobby's apartment needs some flowers and a few throw pillows.
Yeah, okay, Roger. Well, let's go play your guitar.
Hater says, can't wait to see Sarah sitting on that chair.
She is in the video if you watch it.
Gator says that chair is forever goated.
What? Gator said what?
That chair is goated.
Okay, see, I sat in the chair, Gator, for you.
Joining us right now is one of the great Jet content creators out there. He is a confidant to Bobby Midnight, and he wants to weigh in on Bobby sitting in the orange chair. Ladies and gentlemen, a proud NYJ fan, Nick, has called in. Hello, Nick.
Hi, Nick. I sit in my chair today.
Strongest chair ever. That chair stands the test of time. That was remarkable.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm
Bobby,
still so sore. I can't
news
laugh.
for you.
What?
Oh man, my reception sucks.
I hear you.
I hear.
Where'd he go?
I don't know.
What'd you do to Nick?
I heard him quite well.
Keith writes in, new intro, shirtless Bobby saying, I'm Bobby. Uh-oh, intro number 11 might be.
Oh, no, shut up. Shut up.
That was Keith who said that. I didn't say that.
Well, Keith, shut up.
Yeah, tell him to shut up, not me.
Who cares about your $2 thing? Who gives a crap?
I do. Super chats are how I pay the bills.
Yeah, I know, but don't throw my name in it.
Well,
he called back yet?
Not me. Oh, Nick has called back, baby. Hello, Nick.
Okay, Nick, what?
Hey guys, sorry, I'm at the school here, and there's bad cell reception in this area. You hear me? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. What?
All right, Bobby. I don't know if you're aware of this. I know you went to bed early last night, but we had some breaking news on my show. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Sarah is attempting to come to America for the December 1st Seattle game and Addison's birthday.
And she's staying at your apartment, right?
That was the offer. I said all the hotels in the New York area are sold out. If she needs a place to stay, I would help her.
I'm going to be pissed if she stays at your apartment.
Why?
I'm going to be pissed.
Why not? Sarah's a friend of Nick's.
Yeah.
I'm trying to save her money. Do you know how much a flight from Australia? It's $2,000 for a flight. Why should we have to pay New York City hotel prices
I'll
around
pay
Christmas
for a
time?
hotel bill, okay? Don't you worry about it.
You're gonna pay for Sarah's hotel bill?
No. I should
Yes.
I'm trying to save her a few bucks, man. That's an expensive trip.
Well, I'm gonna pay for her hotel. You just calm your hormones down and
All right.
put down your freaky over there.
All right. I don't know.
I saw your video.
I mean, no offense, Bob, but
no offense. What?
you know, I live right outside of New York City.
Yeah.
My camera off.
So what that does that mean, though?
Jake, you hear me better if I turn the camera off?
I don't know if it makes a difference.
No, not really.
You hear me okay or no?
I hear you. Yep.
Yeah, we hear you clear and clear. Yep. We hear you.
All
He's
right. I mean,
back.
Bob, like if you come to America,
Singing
who
private
wants
tax
to go to Brattleboro, Vermont?
I'm coming down. I'm going down to the New Jersey game, maybe too. See how again.
All right, you're coming down. You're going to come down too for if Sarah comes to America.
Yes. Check your private check, Jake.
All right,
Get rid
all
of
right.
that lottery milk.
I got it, Bobby. Don't worry. This is
Yeah,
more
you-
important. Sarah coming to the United States and staying with Nick.
No, that's not going to help. No, going over my.
I mean, this is why you can't go to sleep during my show if we're not doing call-ins. Sometimes we have big breaking news, man.
Well, I was tired. I didn't want to wait anymore. I went to bed.
All right. All right,
Bobby,
well-
what if you bring the orange chair for Sarah to stay in?
No, I'm not bringing the orange chair.
Why not?
What if you bring it and just like sit next to like the couch? I'll sleep on the couch. I'll give her the bed, and you just sit there in the chair and like do like night watch for security purposes.
No.
All right. All right. Well,
Nick,
we'll have to
thank
figure
you
this
for,
out then. Maybe
yeah,
just have us.
Thanks for the breaking news, Nick. Appreciate it. This was
All
important.
right, guys.
Nick checking in. Little tough connection there, but we got the point. Sarah coming to the United States. Bobby,
Yeah, I
big
know. I'm
news.
going to be there. Me and my brother will be there.
Oh yeah. So what's wrong if Nick hosts Sarah?
Yeah, right.
What's
Yes,
wrong?
the hornball? I don't think so.
You're saying guys and girls can't just be friends?
Yeah, right. Look at Nick. He's like kind of desperate.
He's desperate.
Yeah.
How do
He's
you know?
taking my girl away from me. That's my.
Oh, baby. You might have to write another song.
Yeah. Well,
Hey guys, guess who's with me now?
Oh, Bubby.
It's the girl who makes my freaky roll.
Oh, Bubby.
She's the only one I let sit on my chair.
Oh, Bubby.
With her beautiful face and her long blonde hair.
Oh, Bubby. Oh, you know I'd stop by more often if you clean up this mess.
Oh, Sarah.
Is that an old ham sandwich over there, Bubby?
Yes, Sarah.
Do you think I'm prettier than 3D Gary, Bubby?
Of course, Sarah.
Because you said he's good looking with his long, sweet hair.
Oh, Sarah. I thought it was his wife.
Yeah, that was kind of embarrassing that night. So I'm going after your second show today. I'm not going to have a first show. Because you got what's his name? Brandon Brains coming on at 3, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'll take a break. I need a break.
I think so too. You've been very cranky lately.
Yeah, well, I had like a 10-hour sleep last night. So
Yeah, but you don't just get it all back with one sleep. You got to get back into a routine where you get rest.
yeah, I did get rest. Yeah.
Good.
So I'll be here for 3 o'clock for you.
We'll see you there, Bobby.
Okay, have fun.
Thank you.
Well, you know I'm getting really freaking pissed. I thought I saw Gary's pretty wife. I need to get some sleep. I'm happy.
What a call. What a time. Super chat. Ryan writes in, the worst negative side of my Jet fandom's telling me Jamal Adams will hurt Rodgers in the Tennessee game after we beat San Fran. Please try to calm me down. Let's relax, all right? Jamal Adams is not any good. I saw he just signed with the Titans. Cool. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm throwing at Jamal Adams every chance I get if he's in coverage. Jamal Adams is more of a liability in pass coverage than Ryan Gosling and Remember the Titans. All right? Please. I'm not worried about Jamal Adams. I'll be all right. What a show it's been. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. We're back, as Bobby alluded to, at 3 p.m. Eastern time today. Brandon Pockris from JetsXFactory.com will join us. If you missed the beginning of the show, great conversation with one of our favorites. Leger Douzable was on for the first 45 minutes of the show today. Did some listener questions at the end. Great breakdown on the state of the Jets. So that was certainly a lot of fun. Thanks again to everyone who watched the show. Hit the like button on your way out of here. JETS, 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 Jets.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Bass, and Jake. Get it started, Gator.
Bass, and Jake. Bass, and Jake. Bass, and Jake. Bass, and Jake.
Well, Super Jets always cut the line. And the Boyalo dances really fine.
When she's sucking and about them jets.
My senorita, you know she gets real happy.
Real happy if that female that doesn't rhyme.
Hey, Gator, it's a family show.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Bass, and Jake. Bass, and Jake. Bass, and Jake. Bass, and Jake.